They've become one of the hottest items of the 80s, and forecasters say that by the end of the year, 1 out of every 4 homes in the U.S. will have a VCR.
My own YouTube channel, so I'll just mention it. It's called Delboy3K1 Retro Zone. That's how I'm known around YouTube, and I do anything to do with film, TV, and nostalgia. I come from a place where the video recorders were first being introduced, so my first real recording or physical media I ever bought would have been on VHS tape, and that would have been around about 1981. There weren't very many video rental places. It would have been something that my dad would have brought back, like a pirate video, something that was recorded from a bought tape or something, and it would have been around about a period of time. So it could have been Jaws, or it could have been Rocky 3. More likely, it would have been E.T.
Several ways to tell if a tape is counterfeit.
One of the most obvious things we're going to look for will be the label itself. It's the key. As you can see right here, we have a Xerox black and white label, which is a dead giveaway to us that this is a duplicated tape.
You can check for security stickers, heat stamps, and the obvious holograms on the side of the box.
There were magazines that you used to buy that gave you film reviews. They would be based on horror or science fiction. They were full of magazine adverts that turned around and said you could get prosecuted. There were certainly articles on the BBC programme, which was Film 84, Film 85. It had a guy called Barry Norman. He would start to bring in little snippets of the video industry, and Tomorrow's World would definitely talk about the new technology. So all I can say is I knew it was going on. I think the only convictions I ever heard of people that were selling them, not in personal collections, but I do know that personal collections were a thing for banned videos that are banned in this country because of the content of the film.
Renting videos shouldn't be a game of skill or luck, and it's not. At Home Video Express, you'll find over 10,000 videos, including a huge selection of current releases, plus one-day advance reservations and the fastest, friendliest service. So don't worry about missing the movie you want. Check it out. Plus, look in this month's Tacoma News Tribune for coupons that'll get you a year of free movie rentals. And be sure to visit Tacoma's newest superstore at 64th and Pacific during the grand opening celebration October 10th through the 17th.
Early part of the same year, there was a couple of stores that opened. They weren't in the high street. They were sort of like just off the high street, and they were renting videos. We thought that it was starting to take off then, because back then you could rent video recorders from Multi Broadcast and Granada. So I walked into this boutique, and there were sort of like videotapes, and if you can imagine, they weren't on their edge where you can see all the writing. They were actually flat because there were not that many of them. There was around about 150 videotapes scattered around on shelves, and I remember we had to fill in a form so that any damages we'd have to pay for. I remember that. And it went through the return policy in regards to how long we could have it.
Imagine the perfect video store. It would have a great selection, right? Right! Over 10,000 videos. 3 evening rentals, so no rush, no hassle. Fast checkout. 24-hour quick drop return. Open late every night. Well, the perfect video store.
Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
Is popping up all over the country. There's one near you.
Blockbuster Video. Wow, what a difference.
I'm Sam, and based in Northumberland area, and I've been collecting physical media for probably, well, I guess you could say since the 2000s, where it was just mainly VHS tapes, DVDs, and then I remember going to Blockbuster, and I would just remember looking at the shelves, and just you see so many titles with the artwork and that, and it was It was like me at the time, I was like a kid in a candy store. I just could not make my mind up of what movie I was going to rent out. It was great. I loved that feeling of way back when, and I would do anything to relive that experience again, going to Blockbuster.
This is DVD. And this is what happens when you watch DVD. It's a movie on a disc the size of a CD. The picture is twice as sharp as VHS. The sound is infinitely clearer. It looks and sounds like you're at the movies, but you can experience it at home. Not to mention, you can watch it in widescreen, listen to audio commentary, choose from features like director's notes, behind-the-scenes footage, trailers, and more. Watch a movie right on your computer. And rent or buy DVDs from these great Hollywood studios. DVD. See how good a movie at home can be. With over 3,000 titles to choose from, make sure you see your next movie on DVD. Yeah.
You have to remember as well that by this point, the American magazines were coming out over here. So there would be video review magazines that were coming out, and they would then tell you about digital versatile disc, DVD. So we waited in anticipation for the players to come out. We didn't even know what the prices were going to be. So when the prices did officially come out, they were quite expensive. One of the first DVD discs was Jumanji. Not the fantastic a film to have as a free film in your box that you take your DVD player home in. I'd have to think about that. I'm pretty sure it's Jumanji, but don't take my word for it.
Blockbuster today announced it's closing its remaining 300 video stores. Blockbuster, which has just 4 stores remaining in Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky, says it will close all its stores by early next year.
And video rental places were really on the way out before COVID and streaming was sort of around about that point. I think what killed those video rental places was partly oversaturation of the market, that's one, and secondly, piracy. A lot of people would get a film out and they would record it, because as our technology feed comes in, where we're buying PCs and there's a PC in every home, so did DVD recorders, and so did the price of blank media for you to put your data onto these discs. So it didn't take too long for people to cotton on that they could rent something and record it, no matter what protection you put on it.
And I feel Disney Plus, Netflix were sort of overpowering a little bit. Don't get me wrong, there was some good stuff that I watched during lockdown through obviously Netflix and Disney Plus, but any day of the week, physical media all the way. I think streaming services is there, it's like a plan B sort of thing, really. Like if there's anything you want to watch that you can't get on physical media.
It used to be when I first looked at streaming services, they were like $5.99. Now they're going up to $12 and $13.99 or even more. They're taking away the ability so that you can't give your free accounts to your family members, and they're also making it tiered in their business model. That you only get a standard definition at the lowest price, and then it's high definition higher up, and so forth. Then they're even now starting to say that you have to pay to not have adverts in the middle of your films. I mean, a physical disc into my player, there's no adverts. And when I go to the cinema, unless a film is like 3 or so hours long, there's no intermission. I set the standard of when I want it to be paused. To be told at some unknown interval in this film there's going to be an advert because that's the only way we can get revenue from you, then basically I think you're on a loser.
Streaming's still going to be there as an option for a lot of people. I think, that is the thing that most people will go to nowadays, but I still think on the flip side of that, You've still got loads of people that are still wanting to go to the cinemas to support their cinemas. Like you've got the Odeon memberships, the View memberships. I forgot to bring up as well, people signing up to those memberships and Tyneside Cinema as well.
But really what people want is something new every day, and that's where Netflix and Disney Plus and all of those escalated, especially when your one family member could have one account and then give another 2 or 3 off of the same account the ability to access those films. So basically it was a very cheap way for everybody to have something different to watch every day. So yes, definitely I believe that the pandemic caused a big rise in those.
I don't think it will. I think there's still keep going strong. There's always announcements rolling in, like from Arrow and Criterion and Radiance Films more recently, and 101 Films. And I think there's always a market for it, you know, like there's always that the limited editions that, like you've got the vault sets like that 2001 edition up there with like limited editions, and people always are, you know, like clicking the pre-order button when it comes to like those editions. Media is heads and shoulders above it. I think it's always there. It's always been in my DNA to be I've always been a film fanatic first, physical media second, but I think as well, you know, like the feeling of having some of these releases that you get, like as said, it does the market, the distributor does wonders for like the packaging with some of the special features, but also you've got like great, you know, like you get poster art cards and that, or you know, like you might get a bonus disc as well, you might get a documentary thrown in. It's like, whereas you don't really get that same feeling or attachment with like streaming.